Alright, so I know Tim the Tatman does this every year. I've watched it for a couple years now. I'm somewhat of a long-time fan of the NFL. I used to watch when I was maybe around 10 until about maybe the COVID years, around there. And then I kind of just stopped watching. But the last couple years, I've started to get back into it again. And you know what? I want to take a shot at predicting where I think teams will land before the season. I'm going to try to keep my explanations short so it's not crazy long of a video. Some of it's going to be like I sat down and thought about it for a really long time. Um, I won't lie. Some of my thoughts and decisions with how I've ranked some teams, went up and down based on just my own biases and how long I kind of convince myself up or down on a team. So with that being said, I know there's going to be some controversy with my tier list. Let's see. We're going to start with the AFC East. I'm just going to go in order from there, top to bottom. The Bills, let's see. I already filled out their whole season schedule for every team, all the matchups, and I'm just going to place them where I already put them on my list. The Bills, I have at 11 and 6 wins. 11 wins, 6 losses. This is my team. This is my favorite team in the NFL. I won't lie. When I saw Sean McDermott got fired, it was it was not a happy camper. I loved our coach in terms of like what he's done for us in the past. It's really tough seeing him go. I had personal feelings watching our coach leave. With that being said, Josh Allen's the GOAT. So we're still going to have a winning record. I don't think we're going to be as dominant as years past. But I'm still relatively hopeful for the future. I think, at least with Joe Brady, there's some familiarity. I think it's not an insanely large switch up where it's like, okay, we're rebuilding or anything crazy like that. So, yeah, I think we'll still have an okay year, just not as high as I have been in years past. Patriots, I have going 11 and 6 as well. I think their wide receiver room isn't as good as the year before, and they have a tougher schedule. With that being said, they're still a really strong team. I actually don't have them making the playoffs on my current bracket. Maybe I'll show like a screenshot here of kind of how my bracket is, or maybe I'll show it at the end of the video, just so I don't spoil kind of where everything goes. Just so you can get kind of a yeah. Sorry, English is my second language, even though it's the only language I speak. But yeah, you'll see the delusions the further we go along, especially like the Browns, for example. But we'll get there. The Jets. I have them going 3 and 14. I think they're headed in the right direction, and they have some good pieces. I personally don't know how I feel about Geno Smith, so yeah. The Dolphins are going in the 0 to 1 tier. Controversial, maybe. I have them going 0 and 17. I don't like what they're doing over there. I think Malik Willis is fine, but they have nothing else. They have what? Devon Achan? He's great, but that's kind of it, right? So, yeah. They're rebuilding. So, I get it. They're going 0 and 17, get that first round pick. The Ravens, I have them at 12 and 5. I think last year was a down year. I think that they're just gonna pound this year. That's it. That simple. Just, they're going to kill everybody. Bengals. I have them also going 12-5, which, not really the greatest in hindsight because their defense, not insanely strong. But I just really like that offense, so full bias is on display. 12-5. I know it probably won't actually be 12-5, but I have to do it, I'm not really a hater of the Bengals here. I like the Bengals. I wouldn't say I'm a fan necessarily, but I root for them every now and again. I was gonna say time after time, but not really. Not really. Sometimes I root against them. Let's see. Steelers. Steelers. I have Steelers going 6-11. I think the team generally is actually a really strong roster, but they're all aging. They got a new head coach coming in. I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers hater, even when he was on the Packers. So, yeah, I wish them all the worst. I hate the Steelers. You Steelers. Anyways, Browns 6-11. And mind you, I actually was going to have them with 8 or 9 wins. I know that's delusional as hell, but I actually really, really like the team the Browns have outside of, the guy. I really think if the Browns gave Shedeur Sanders a full season, all the resources in the world, develop him right, especially now with their new head coach and their new system that they're attempting to, integrate into the team with the 2 new receivers, Casey Concepcion and I forgot his name, Denzel Boston, I think. I am so high on those 2 wide receivers, and then Jerry Jeudy won't be your wide receiver 1 in theory, so he should have pressure taken off of him. He'll have more help, and just the amount of open space these 3 should be able to get with each other. The longer I stared at it, the more I'm just like, wow, this team could be busted. And with Keyshawn Judkins, he did great last year. I forget their tight end's name, but he's really good. And then that defense, come on. I don't know. I'm probably way too high on the Browns. But if they don't have it this year, I might be a fan next year. I might be rooting for this team. I'm a Bills fan at heart, but I like rooting for a lot of different teams. I'm pretty lenient with my biases. If I just have players that I like watching, then I'm probably rooting for them. The Jags are a good example. I'm gonna just skip over the Texans real quick. I love the Jags. I think if I didn't grow up in New York like I have around my brother who was a really hard Bills fan, I probably wouldn't even be a Bills fan today because I love the Jaguars. Back when they had that really good playoff run, when they had Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey. Oh my gosh, I loved that team. I was rooting really hard for them. I have them going 11-6. I know they lost Travis Etienne. So, or was it Trevor? I forgot the guy's name. I know they lose him, so they do lose a little bit on offense. But I think they have some consistency now with that wide receiver core. I know they're not necessarily the biggest stars, but I think their consistency and then maybe Trevor, clicking things together, they're a really exciting team. I really enjoy watching them last year. I kind of was rooting for them to win against the Bills, if I'm being honest. That one was a tough one, man, because, I want Josh Allen to get a ring. That's my quarterback, but I also really, really love the Jags, especially what they did last year. So I'm rooting for them. I got high hopes for them. The Texans are going to be my first 14-win team. They're going to go 14-3. I think as long as CJ Stroud, you know, gets back to like that rookie year, I think this team fucks. And I'm not even like the crazy biggest fan, but this team is just so full of potential. It's insane. I honestly don't see how they don't go 14-3 with that defense as long as they can, be average on offense. I honestly think anything less than, you know, playoffs is just a failure, which, maybe CJ Stroud gets really ripped into this year if that's like their issue. But yeah, I think they're going to have 14 wins. I think it's a pretty safe bet just because, especially that second half of the season, they went crazy. Colts, ooh, I am pretty low on the Colts this year. I think with Daniel Jones getting injured, and just that second half of the year collapse, I look at it and I really struggle to believe that when they lose Michael Pittman, that they can even closely reach that start of the year. And I know most of that's on the back of Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. I just don't know if they have the pieces yet to really break through. I think their defense needs some cleaning up. I think they could use a few more weapons on offense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really recency bias because that collapse was just heartbreakingly bad. But we'll see. I don't know. I think the competition this year is so tough, and I think they didn't do enough to fill in those gaps that they already had and were exposed to. Titans, I have going 3-14. I actually really like what they did this offseason. I think they're going to be better overall. I just don't think this year in particular is where it all clicks together. I think next year they're like guaranteed up here, maybe even pushing up here if they get, some insanely good pieces. I just think this year, yeah, not as good as what you want. But I do think next year, like the pieces are in place for next year to be really, really good for the Titans. Broncos, I mean, this is obvious. I think they're going to go 15-2. Defense is astounding. Offense is really good, especially with Jalen Waddle. Like, I am so high on the Broncos this year. That's their team is insane. As long as Bo is healthy, but I'm gonna take that gamble when predicting their schedule just because of how good this team looked. I honestly think if the Broncos had gone to the Super Bowl, they probably would have won. Not to take anything away from that insanely strong Seahawks team, but the Broncos were fucking nasty. And that's without Jalen Waddle. Throw him in there, and like this team is the team to contend with, I think. Kansas City. I'm going to put Kansas City at 11-6. I think they have a bounce back year this year. They got Kenneth Walker. I think Pat Mahomes will be healthy. I know he had an issue last year with that injury, but I think they returned to form. I think they're just the Chiefs, Even the Patriots had some down years. I don't know if they ever missed the playoffs. I can't really recall. It's been so long. But, they're the Chiefs. Expect them to be there. Just because last year was a down year doesn't really mean anything long term. They'll be back, unfortunately. Chargers, I have at 8-9. They lose Keenan Allen to retirement. I look at their offense and I think, it's good. So is their defense. It's good. I think the issue here is that I think a lot of other teams took a step up or just in general look stronger. But I don't know if they have enough to really keep them where they were this season, where like they were really good. I don't know if they kept enough of that to show the same successes that they have been having recently. So yeah, I'm gonna put them at 8 and 9. They missed the playoffs. They're like the ninth seed in the AFC, unfortunately. Um, but I think they're still in a good spot. I think next year they can bounce back. I think they really need to get something for the offense. I don't really think their defense necessarily. I don't really watch the Chargers too often, so I don't know like necessarily their weaknesses. Because from my perspective, I actually think they have a pretty strong defense, but I don't really know. I don't really have that kind of knowledge. Let's see, the Raiders. The Raiders are gonna go 2-15. Maybe some people see that as controversial. But I look at their wide receiver room and I feel like they really don't have anybody. I know they got Ashton Genty. I know they got Fernando Mendoza, Kirk Cousins. And, like, I know they're putting pieces in place, but I'm really, really not high on that room. Like, I know they got pieces. They got Max Crosby. Got, what's the guy's name? Wow. I can't remember their tight end, which is crazy because I know he's a dog. But yeah, I don't know. I think this year's just not yet. I think if they take some good weapons next year, though, I think the Raiders are making like a conversation like where I have the Browns pushing, but I still think they have a lot of issues they have to fix. But for now, they're going to go 2-15. The Raiders are the Raiders, Jets are the Jets, Titans are the Titans. Sorry, guys. I can't push you any higher. I'm just not confident on these teams. The Eagles, I have going 15-2. Probably crazy, especially like the kind of year they had last year felt like a disappointing year for the Eagles. Regardless of the A.J. Brown drama and rumors that, we have yet to see because it's not June yet. And we'll see if he gets off this team, goes somewhere else. But at the moment, I'm going to assume they keep him. Regardless, I think this team bounced back way stronger. I think last year was a fluke. And even then, it's not like they did terrible. But I think this team has a vengeance. I think they punch people in the mouths. I think they explode back to like form. And they're such a strong team. I'm not going to count them out. So they're going to be my third powerhouse. And with that being said, the Seahawks are going to go 14-3. I think what they did last year isn't a fluke. I think they are a very strong team. I know they lose Kenneth Walker, but they draft the new rookie. I forget his name. I think this team is good enough to get back there. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I'm not going to bet against the Super Bowl champs. I think they're still very solid, so there they are. I was supposed to be going in order of division. Completely forgot. I was going in order of my list. Let's get back to that. The Cowboys, I have going 13-4. And one thing to know about me is I am not a Cowboys head. I fucking hate the Cowboys. Probably more than I hate the Steelers. I love putting this team down. I can't stand to watch them win. With that being said, that offense is disgusting. Might be the best offense in the entire league. It's very close. Them or the Rams. It's so close. And I know they picked up defensive pieces. I think if their defense can at least be average, they absolutely deserve to be up here, because I also have the Bengals up here. And for the record, I got the Cowboys with a better rating. So, I unfortunately believe in this team to do really good, which sucks because, like I said, I'm a pretty big Cowboys hater. I hate to see them doing good. But I'm also not completely delusional. Credit where credit is due. The team is nasty. 13-4 moving on. The Washington Commanders. Oh, it hurts for me to do this, but I think the Commanders are going to go 4-13. I know last year was relatively down for them, especially after that big 12-5 year. And then they go, 5-12. It sucks. I really want to believe in the Commanders. And I think a part of me has hope for them in the future. I look at their roster, and with my limited ball knowledge, I honestly look at it and what do they really have personally? And from my perspective, I don't really know. I don't know what they have, so I can't put them higher. I can't put more chips in their basket. I'm hoping maybe what they did get this year is really good, and I can visually see that this year, and I can process that, and then start to root for them the same way I want to, because I think of all the NFC teams, I think the Commanders probably up there being one of my favorites, but I don't really have much hope for them, unfortunately. New York Giants. Speaking of a team I have hope for, I do only have them going 5-12 this year. But I do also have them kind of like the Titans, kind of like the Browns, where I am very excited to see what they do next year. I think they have a lot of amazing pieces falling into place this year. I think there's going to be a lot of kinks that they have to work out, spots that are going to get exposed that they'll shore up maybe in the offseason next year. I think with that being said, I think 5 wins is still respectable, because I think there's going to be a lot of close games that they end up losing, that they kind of already end up losing last year. I am very excited to see where this team goes, because if you would have asked, I don't know, 14-year-old me if I ever would have thought the Giants would ever be good in my lifetime, I would have told you hell no. Because I thought this team was probably the worst in the NFL. Of course, now the Jets kind of, but I am very high on this team, and I can't believe that they kind of look like a good team. Personally, mind-blowing. So I'm very high on them. I have a lot of hope for them, because I think that would be pretty fucking cool. Bears, I have going 11-6. I actually have them missing the playoffs, because I'm full of more controversial decisions later, and I will share them in a few seconds. Bears, insanely strong team. I look at it, and I actually don't like that I have them missing the playoffs. I think this one could absolutely be a miss, because that team is pretty disgusting. I kind of want to just speed run through it to help explain it. The Lions, I have going 14-3. I think this year they bounce back. I think last year was pretty disappointing. I know they lost Ben Johnson, but I don't think this is a permanent issue. I think this year they bounce back and they punch people in the mouths like we're used to seeing for the last couple seasons. I think just last year in general was an off year. I think it was a very fun year, a very interesting year, a very close year with all the teams. I think this year, a little different. I still think a lot of teams are going to be close, but I think there will be more upper echelon powerhouses. And the Lions are one of those teams. And with that being said, I think the Vikings go 13-4. And I know nobody has the Vikings this fucking high. Absolutely just, I don't know what's going through my head, but I am very, very high on Kyler Murray coming to the Vikings. And this team, oh my God, this team is so good. If Josh Allen was on this team, I might even put them undefeated, 17-0. Like, this team is nasty. It is absolutely the most disgusting team in the league, but their only issue is that they don't have a mainstay quarterback. And I know Kyler's not a popular pick. I know he's probably not the best in the league. I think he is above average, and I think he has been stuck on a team and unfairly rated. And I think he gets his flowers here. I think with Kevin O'Connell and just that nasty defense, I think Kyler is more than serviceable, especially with the weapons this team has. That I think they go back to the playoffs. Look what they did with J.J. McCarthy. They have 9 wins, and I thought they robbed some teams last year. I was shocked to see them win some games. I think this year maybe they surprise some people because everyone is so low on Kyler. Not me. In fact, I think this team could burst up higher if they had superstar quarterback. Of course, I don't necessarily want to write off Kyler from being a potential superstar, but at the same time, I do need to see it. But I have faith that he'll do pretty good. So yeah, coming back to the Bears, they play in the hardest division in football. Let's not beat around the bush. And I have the Vikings going 13-4. I have the Lions going 14-3. Absolutely delusional. And I still have the Bears going 11-6, so I think that's pretty fair to say they won't make the playoffs with what I've said before. Let's see. Packers. I think Packers go 5-12. Hear me out. They have no receivers. Josh Jacobs might not even play for them. They're screwed. Micah Parsons is still injured. I am just not high on the Packers. I think it's crazy to look at this team and have as much belief as people do, knowing they have an incredibly hard schedule in the hardest division of football, and decide that this team wins 6 games. By no means am I saying the Packers are bad, but I think this year, in the circumstances, they're screwed. Let's see. The Saints. I have the Saints with 9 wins. I think the Saints are the best team in the NFC South by far. Not even close. The momentum they had last year, I think they carry in, especially with the pieces that they picked up. I think their defense is nasty. I think their offense is certainly improved. I think the quality in the South has technically gotten weaker. I think the Tampa Bay collapse hurts them. I think the Falcons with personnel change can help them in the long term. I don't think it'll shore up their issues this year, even though I'm very high on them. And I think the Panthers, without Rico Dowdle, which might be the craziest take, I think they regress heavily because I don't believe they have a good run game and I think they're a team that needs to have a good run game to see success in the passing. With that being said, I think the Saints have this huge open hole opportunity to succeed this year. I think they do a pretty good job, 9-8, not crazy, but for their division, gets them to the playoffs. Maybe they make a run. The Falcons I have finishing at 6-11. I think this team has the most potential. I just don't think they're at a place where they're good enough to succeed just yet. I think their quarterback situation's odd. I think maybe Tua could have a good year if he starts. I don't know how I feel about Michael Penix. Obviously, they got an amazing running back in Bijan. They got Drake London, an amazing receiver. I'm not really sure what their issue is. I think maybe just consistency. Once they get more consistency, this team could be a lethal threat. But for now, I have them at 6-11. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-12. Honestly, I was very high on Tampa last year. Very disappointing end. And I think the team has some exposed holes on defense that I don't feel confident get fixed for this season. I think them losing Mike Evans hurts a lot. I think they have not brought in enough talent offensively to kind of punch above where they are. And for that reason, I think with the schedule that they have and the teams that are around this year, I don't think they can fleece their division the same way. And therefore, they go 5-12. The Carolina Panthers. Oh my god, I don't even want to put the Panthers up there. I have the Panthers going 2-5. 2-15. Oh, I think this is probably my worst prediction on the entire list, because a part of me tells me I'm a dumbass. This is so stupid. And the other part of me is telling me that everyone is so high on this team and they are wrong. Because I think Bryce Young got better and was able to execute when Rico Dowdle was running very strong. I think this team needs a run game, and without it, I think they regress and suffer like they were before when everyone was low on this team. I know they got Ted McMillan. I know they have some fucking guys, but everything in my bones screams this team without a run game is ass. And since I don't think they have a great run game, and I drafted Rico Dowdle last year, I can't, not Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. But I'm just not convinced they can do what they did last year again this year. I'm not. Oh, but I know this could bite me in the ass when I come back to this list later. But you know what? I'm right. You'll see. Bada bing, bada boom. Rams, easy, 13-4. Insane offense. Probably better defense. I know they just got a quarterback instead of reloading. Doesn't matter. Insane team. They could still make a run. Probably will make a run. Yeah. I have nothing to say. That team is amazing. They made some changes, and we'll see. We'll see how they do. Niners, I have going 11-6, and just narrowly missing the playoffs at 8. I like that they bring in Mike Evans. I think this team on paper is fantastic. We're talking like up here. They got the what is it, substations? I don't really understand. I love the meme though, that they're just injury city, gamma waves, unga bunga. Personnel, talent, up there, injury-prone, ridden team. They're cursed. Balances out somewhere in the middle. Amazing team. Missed the playoffs. That's all I have to say. Used to be a hater. Kind of like watching them now. Really like CMC still. Voila. Cardinals wrap it up 2-15. I actually think the Cardinals have really good potential. They have really good talent. Their biggest issue, I guess defense. I don't really know enough about the Cardinals. I don't really watch them. I think I want to like the team. I think I'm probably higher on the team than most people. Or at least I was until I saw their schedule. Then I kind of get it, and they fell into line, kind of where everyone else was predicting. I think they're probably better than the Panthers. I think they're probably better than the Jets, Titans, Commanders, and Colts. Outside of the issue that their schedule is hard, and they are in the hardest division in football, bar maybe the North. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm placing every team for their next season. I think now is a good time where I put in where I think every team is going to rank. Hopefully I remember to do that. And yeah, you can kind of look at how I think the regular season will go. I've given you a little bit of my thoughts on it. I know some of these are delusional in both upper and lower ranked teams, but I do think relatively it's a correct list, even though I have way too many teams winning and not enough teams being mid. I don't know. We'll see, right? We will see. Thanks for watching. So, I'm probably going to have to make a second edit later, because I'm still waiting to see if A.J. Brown gets traded somewhere else, or maybe Stephon Diggs get picked up. But I just saw the Myles Garrett trade after work, so you know what? I think the Rams go undefeated, and I know in a realistic world, probably not true. But Myles Garrett just got traded to the Rams. So I gotta change my tier list just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. Yeah, I don't really care about how much I might have changed my list. Nope, Seahawks are good. Niners, 10-7. Technically still correct on my list. Broncos, let's see. Okay, 14-3. My list doesn't change that much. Yeah, no, LA's definitely winning the Super Bowl now. I can't believe the Browns traded Myles Garrett. I will say, I do think the Browns take a bit of a hit on their win-loss total, even though I do think Jared Verse is still pretty good. Obviously, he's more of a future piece rather than, Myles Garrett. But yeah, I'll make another edit to this section here at the end of the video, in the event that I see an A.J. Brown or Stephon Diggs pickup. For whatever team signs them. Still waiting. The Patriots, I think they have room to, bump up if they do get A.J. Brown, and I definitely will be dropping the Bills in that case if A.J. Brown gets added to the Patriots. I think you basically just flip them, and if you see on my bracket here, we'll just switch the Patriots with the Bills, most likely winning a few more games. Yeah, I might put some money on the Rams to win every game this year. Wow, they got Myles Garrett. Oh my. Well, anyways, this will be the end of the video unless I end up making another, post-sentence edit. Anyways, have a good day, I guess. Crazy.